Okay, so coming back at you with a video on handheld light meters. I've got two. I've got this Leningrad 7, which I bought recently for about 15, I think it was about 15 or 20 quid. And I've had this Weston Master V for a long time. And I'm not really perhaps the best to do a video on this, but I've been asked, so I'll do one. Just to understand, this is effectively a light meter, and you have the selenium cells there, which obviously generate a voltage, and the voltage is shown on the front here. And all they do is they use the dial to calibrate and work out what the exposure should be based on the voltage that it's creating through the selenium cell. And the principle is exactly the same for this one. However, you can't really see it in there, but there's actually another cell inside this one here. So I'm just going to look at the Weston Master V one first. And so the first thing you need to do is to set your ISO rating, which is in this tiny little hole here, and you press this little button and then that moves around. So let's take it to, I don't know, 400 ISO, like so. Okay, and then you would take your light meter reading, and let's just say if I put this cover back on and say it read 11, I'd literally turn that round to 11, and then you could read off your shutter speed and aperture based on that. So at 11, at 400 ISO, it will be 250th between 8 and 11. Or I'd go for f8, it's closer to f8 on that one. So the reason this comes open is because that's obviously for lower light. And if I was to turn it, if I turn it around and fire it off at my light where I've got behind me, you'll see it will lock into place. So if I go like that and then press the button on the side, you'll see that that's reading an 8 now. And that, when you press the button here, that then triggers the meter to work, and then you see the reading. So you go down to number 8, and that's saying 125th at f4, just there, or 250th at 2.8, I think that is. Yeah, so that's basically the principle. The only other thing that really adds on to this is you have, I haven't unpacked it, here we go, got it now, is the infracomb, and that's when you want to do incident readings. So basically, rather than having, so this is when I say incident reading, it's the light coming in. So you're actually standing where the subject is, pointing it towards the camera rather than pointing it at the subject. And that's when you'd use that to do incident readings. I've tested them both on this, and they both work really well. So let's just show you the Leningrad. Okay, and again, this one, the principle is exactly the same. You move the dial here. I can never get this right. There we go. You move the dial there, and that changes the ASA rating. And then you use the outer one, like so, and then you change it by the numbers here. Obviously, the reading of the numbers is done from the bottom. It's kind of like a bit of a back to front way to the Weston. So if I was to read at, say, 12, I'll take it around to 12, like so. And it's set at 100 ISO, so it would be 100 ISO in that particular, if it was at 12, it would be between 125th and 8 at 125th second at 5, 8 and 6. So, sorry, 5.6 and 8. Kind of getting all tongue-tied here. Anyway, so that's how basically that works. It does have its own infracomb which sits on the top, and it's got different methods. So if I pull this lever here, you'll see it jumps to the lower level. So it's saying the reflective, what's off the wall there, is at 6. So if I turn that to 6, and you'll see, I'll be able to get an exposure for what's coming off the wall at the moment. And that is quite dark. Oh dear. So 30th of a second at f2, or 1.4, or 15th for f2. Because it is actually quite dark in here. This camera doesn't really show that as much. So you've got that there, which drops it down one level, and then you've got this other one here, which goes even further. So it goes 1 to 5, and then when you put it back, it goes 12 to 18, and then it goes 5 to 12. So it's kind of a strange setup. And what happens is when you push this, I think it's this one, it pulls the actual, there you go, you can see the cell at the front there now. So when I go like that and put it back, it drops out of place. And that's obviously to make it like less light get in. So it's kind of a quirky little machine. So you've got those 1, 2, and then 3 settings for it. And you can see, if I point up at the light, this one doesn't lock like the Weston does. But those are the 2 light meters I've got. They're really quirky, fun little things. And I've been out with a Chinon, and the reason I've used the Chinon is its light meter doesn't work, and I wanted to test it. But I tested both of these light meters against my A7 III. Now what's quite interesting is that the A7 III read a half a stop difference from both of these. These were identical exposure wise, and the A7 III was, I think it was a half a stop up from, no, half a stop down from these. So it proves that these still work, even though they're old. And this one was, I say, was built in 1984. This one's obviously a lot older. I can't pick a date for that one because I don't honestly know, whereas this one has a date stamp in its little pouch. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.